Moon does here. Let's talk about all the games happened on Thursday night. Only 3 games. Let's get into it. The first game. Well, this is the first game for both teams. They wanted to, make it Luka versus Trae Young. Dallas played really, really bad. Kristaps Porzingis, this guy was getting, drafted pretty late. But we know this guy's upset. It's top 20. Due to his blocks, he could average over 2 blocks a game while averaging like close to 20 points. Him and Reggie Jackson Jr. are very similar. Except Porzingis gets a little bit more rebound. And Porzingis is a little bit more injury prone than Reggie Jackson Jr. Played 29 minutes because of blowout. 2 blocks. Everything else is really meh. Dorian Finney-Smith, only a streamer. Dwight Powell, we know this guy. It's been so many years now. He's not really fantasy relevant. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is a 3-point and point streamer. And that's all he is. So I wouldn't recommend. If you're trying to win first week, sure. Like, you need some points and threes, but that's about it. Luka also struggled pretty massively. And we know why this guy is not. You don't want to draft this guy in the top 5 because low defensive stats. Rebound assist always going to be good and points, but low efficiency. Free throw good. And who knows? Maybe he could be a 80% free throw shooter this year. But the thing with him is, toward the end of the games, he gets tired. He starts missing free throws. Maybe that's something he worked on over the summer, but we will see. 5 turnovers. Yeah, that's who he is. And the Mavericks. The starters. Not that many good fantasy guys. Again, this year, Jalen Brunson could be a streamer if Luka is out. Everybody else is, not interested in any of them. Steph Curry, a couple years maybe could be a 3-point streamer, but that's a long time ago. Atlanta Hawks, DeAndre Hunter, he was for whatever reason wasn't getting drafted in some leagues. I think he was a top 50 guy last year for a period of time before he got hurt. 11 points, 1 steal, 2 blocks. That's not bad. And we know he's fairly efficient. Doesn't really turn the ball over. Obviously, doesn't get any assist. But 1 steal, 2 blocks, 11 points, 1 3. That's nice all-around stats. Especially if you're punting assist. You probably want really good turnovers. He's a guy you could pick up for sure. He has top 50 upside as we've seen over the years. Last year, John Collins, really good. 16 points, 9 rebounds, super efficient. Hit 2 threes, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He was also a guy that was getting, kind of left out in the draft because people don't think he has that big of an upside. Feel like he's overhyped. I think 1 year he was getting drafted. His second year, maybe getting drafted in the top 20. This year, more like realistic, like top 50. So maybe in the top 60. So that's great value there. Clint Capella, only 20 minutes. Grabbed 13 rebounds. We know this guy gave you 3 categories. Everything else is pretty much negative. Field goal, rebound, and blocks. He led the league in rebounding last season. It's possible he does it again. It's also part of the reason why John Collins is not top 20. Because so many of the rebounds, go to Clint Capella. But, both of them played really well. Obviously, Bogdanovic, had an okay game. He really popped off toward the end second half of the season. That's because, there were a lot of injuries going on, and he definitely took advantage of that. I don't think he's going to be as good as he was last year, but he's still going to make a lot of threes. That's going to be his biggest category. A little bit of points and assists. A little bit of rebound. Everything is a little bit. So not the sexiest option, I would say, but could be a consistent option and getting playing time on this team. Trae, the free throw challenge, only 5 free throws. But we know Trae, he doesn't really get assists. Oh, sorry. Other than the assist and points and free throw, everything else is really, as a guard, the number of threes he makes is not that crazy. It's not like he's hitting 4 a game. He's like 2 point something, which in today's league is really not that impressive. Not a lot of steals, no blocks, high turnovers. So we know who Trae Young is. But he did his part. 14 assists, that's really good. He might lead the league in assists. Him and Harden, It's going to be those two. Now that Russell Westbrook and LeBron, they're going to cancel each other out. So those two guys, assists is hard to get. We all know that. Kevin Huerter, 6 points. Yeah, no, not interested in. Cam Reddish had a huge game. But if he's not going to start, if he doesn't play 30 minutes, don't roster this guy. He's super, super inefficient. He played really well this game, but don't touch this guy. Let's talk about the next game. Milwaukee had a huge win in the opener. And then the second game, they got destroyed by Miami Heat. Miami scored 137 points. So, we could just kind of scratch this game and move on to the next one. For the Bucks, everybody played pretty poorly. Giannis thought, hey, free throw last game 7 for 9. I remember. Now it's 6 for 10. 15 points, 10 rebounds, still solid across the board. But 6 for 10 from the free throw line. If you drafted Giannis, you probably pounding free throws in category league, so that's fine. Chris Middleton, 10 points, 4 assists. Yeah, everybody played pretty poorly. And look at that, Pat Connaughton is a C. NBA.com put him as the center, but I think probably power forward or forward, Giannis is the center. There's no way they actually put Pat Connaughton as the center on the court. Maybe on the offensive end he is, just on the 3-point line, but then anybody is. I don't think he can guard Bam down low. But, didn't do anything, not really fantasy relevant. Grayson Allen, in the short term with, what's his name? Jrue Holiday out. He's going to have a little bit value, but right now I think we're just trying to find out some really quality guys on the waiver wire. Justin Robinson, George Hill, nobody's that interesting on the Bucks. Let's talk about the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler, yes. If you're pounding 3, Jimmy Butler is top 5, top 10 for sure. In 9 categories, even you add 3, last year he was top 10, right? This year, let's see if he can do it again. The thing with him is he's very efficient, low turnover, and give you everything else other than the threes. So just another good game from him. That's kind of expected. PJ Tucker debut. He's not really fantasy relevant in my opinion. Bam, 2 for 5 from the free throw line is bad. Everything else is good. I just want to see him get a bit more defensive stats and assists, which should come. I'm not too worried about Bam. He should also have a pretty good year. But is he going to be better than last year? Last year he shot like 85% from the free throw line for a while. This year maybe he regressed to the mean, just become a below average free throw shooter again, like he did Other than last year, his free throw has always been bad. Duncan Robinson, only a 3-point streamer. Kyle Lowry, a good buy low. People probably think, oh, damn, he's washed, he's bad. In category leagues, Kyle Lowry is still a beast. So, I would, if he scored like 2 points again next game, I would look to, he might struggle for a couple weeks shooting the basketball. But the assist is really, really valuable. And he's a good rebounder too, as a little guy. And gets steals, right? So I like him, and his free throws. So I would look to buy low for Kyle Lowry, especially if your team is needs some guard stats. He's really, really good. Tyler Hero, I would look to if he pops up for a few more games, I would look to trade him. Like his counting stats look really good, especially when he has it going. The Miami Heat played really well as a team. He took 18 shots coming off the bench. We know who he is at this point. Like he doesn't get a lot of defensive stats because then all of his value comes 3s and points, and he's inconsistent at doing that. So if you could get, just try to package him with some other guy, and then do a 2-for-1, get a underperforming guy. That's what I would do. Like maybe package Tyler Hero as some other guy to get a Kyle Lowry. I still think Kyle Lowry easily could be a top 60 guy. In category leagues. Okay, let's go to last game. This is going to be a short one. Last game of the night. The Clippers losing to... this game was wild. The Warriors won by 2. Paul George... I think Warriors started super hot. Curry popped off in the first quarter. Then Clippers slowly made their way back. And then, Warriors able to pull it out. 1 by 2. Paul George, without Kawhi Leonard, he's going to eat. So you could expect and play 36 minutes, so it's just really good. The one thing with Paul George, I would say, is just the number of steals. It's not, when he was in OKC, he averaged 2 steals. This year, realistically, probably 1.1, 1.2. I don't even know he can hit 1.5. So it's just who he is. As he gets older, I don't know. But he's still going to be huge in all the other categories. His efficiency is up and down, especially the field goal. Free throw is really, really good, but he did not attempt a single free throw here. 11 rebounds, 6 assists with Kawhi Leonard out. That's the numbers you would expect across the board. Like, I like Paul George more than like a Jay LeBron or a Zach LaVine. Like, I think he's a tier above those two guys. So if he ever struggles, which he goes through every single year, he goes like 3 for 17, plays horrible, and while Zach LaVine dropping 50 points, that's time we make the trade button. Marcus Morris Sr., he's not really. He makes some threes, And Zubac, like, the thing with big man, I think I talked about it the other day. Like the modern day big man in the NBA, and especially a team like Clippers, they got so many quality guards or forwards that they could just go small a lot of the times. Zubac, there's like the Serge Ibaka is gone, so he still gets only 17 minutes. So it's not really about people competing minutes with him. It's just he cannot play 20-30 minutes a night because he struggled too much guarding the perimeter. 4 for 7, 6 for 10. He's not fantasy relevant. If you could stream him for some efficiency, although he went 6 for 10 from the free throw line. What was that? Only 3 rebounds. But he's a really good field goal guy. Eric Bledsoe, yes, if he's out there available on the waiver wire, for sure pick him up. But pretty sure he shot the ball really well. 10 for 16. Again, is a sell high candidate to me. 3 steals and a block. How did he get those 3 steals? Is he, because, he was a really, really good steals guy before, but it's been 2-3 years where he averaged like 1.5 steals. So this game could just be Draymond Green and Steph Curry throwing the ball away a lot, which they like to do. I think a few teams, they just give a lot of turnovers. Like if you play against Trae Young, if you play against LeBron, sometimes but the right plays gets you steals. So I don't know, 3 steals and 1 block, really, really good. If he's out there on waiver wire, for sure, no brainer. But if he plays well, again, the problem with him is he's very inconsistent. So if he goes on a hot stretch, I would look to trade him for sure. Reggie Jackson, 4 for 19. If you don't care about the efficiency, you want some points and threes and rebound, some guard stats. He doesn't really get a lot of steals either, Reggie Jackson. So just give you some guard stats without the defensive stats. You could look to stream him. Maybe roster him, depending on what your team has. Lukenard, not really interesting. And Terrence Mann, I think we could potentially look at him. The fact that he played 40 minutes, maybe it's matchup because they play Warriors. They like to go small. Also, he played really well. He's a +6. I guess Lukenard was +19. If he plays consistently, he's coming off the bench. But if he gets consistently 30 minutes, we could look at him. He give you a little bit of everything. There's not one category he just say wow. He wows you with, like wow, he gets 1.5 steals a game, or he's gonna give you 1 steal if you play 30 minutes. He's gonna give you a little bit of blocks, a little bit of rebound, a little bit of assist, just a little bit of everything. So nice, 9 category guy, nice stats across the board. But 30 minutes, that's surprising. The most on the team. He's also young, so Ty Lue can just run him forever. And look at the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins, just very consistent. If he pounding free throws, I think he's worth rostering. Pounding free throws and assists, his value probably goes up. I mean, he got 3 assists this game, so he's gonna average like 2-3 assists. Not a big assist guy. I think we know that. It's 1 steal, 1 block. That's good. 3 threes. He gets a lot of hate. Because he's in fantasy, especially in 9 category leagues when he was on the Timberwolves, because the guy averaged over 20 points, but does absolutely nothing else. But now he's getting picked in near 100. So this value level of output, if you're pounding free throw, is totally acceptable. Draymond Green, you know, okay game. If you drafted Draymond, you want to see him getting more defensive stats. 1 steal, 0 block, that's probably below his average. But, those 4 steal, 4 blocks games will come. So just got to be patient. I think Draymond, beginning of season last year, he also struggled. Maybe he's just not in shape. He got to play himself into shape. He somehow hit double-digit scoring, so that's surprising. And 2 for 9 from the free throw line. I think he took a hard fall during the game that messed up his, hand a little bit. So 2 for 9, don't worry about it too much. If the Draymond Green owner is not pounding free throw and he's panicking, maybe hit the trade button, And Draymond's stats, like so far, has not been sexy because he doesn't score a lot of points. So that's maybe the good time for you to go in and get Draymond at a cheap price. Kevon Looney, not really fantasy relevant. Jordan Poole struggled again, I would say 7 turnovers and 4 personal fouls and only played 25 minutes. And again, Damian Lee had more playing time than him. Damian Lee is obviously not a good fantasy guy, so we couldn't ignore that. Jordan Poole, he still took 14 shots. So that means when Curry's not playing, he's still the go-to guy. And I think Clippers, they went small and they got some good defenders on that team, especially on the perimeter. So I think his pop-off game will come. If he can buy low and if he gets dropped, I would instantly scoop him up. I think he's gonna struggle for sure. Like again, 7 turnovers, but and he got 1 steal again. So I thought he won't be getting a lot of steals, but hey, so far 1 steal a game, so that's not too bad. And Curry, what else can you say? I mean, if he didn't get drafted in the top 3, I don't know, in category leagues, then it's interesting. 45 points, just good stuff. Only 1 assist. That kind of sucks, but hey, who cares? He got a triple-double last game. Again, this game got 10 rebounds, the most rebound on the team. But from a fantasy perspective, that's good. 8 threes, just, so far, is he number 1 player in? Let's see. Where is Curry at? Yeah, somehow he's only 10th ranked. Well, because a lot of guys like freaking Robert Williams is 4th. Evan Fournier is 3rd because the guy is averaging 4 steals. But Curry per game top 5 pretty comfortably. Bielitsa is a drop. I mean, he played 25 minutes in this game, 16. I mean, all the worried bench guys, they have no fantasy value. That's it for all the games. I'll see you guys tomorrow.